it's time for a scrapbook process video, and I have got this Cocoa Vanilla Storyteller collection kit, and what I have is basically just scraps. This is the paper, and I was kind of sorting through. I've got scrap. I have a little bit of, well, actually that's a different collection, but it was a wood grain. But basically I've got scrap. I do have this piece here that I had cut out a circle, and then I have this piece that's a plaid that I cut out obviously a little wordy bit there. What I'm kind of thinking, and I haven't figured out 100%, is I may use this one on top of this one, and then I'll have to do something to kind of, you know, cover that. But I have plenty of stuff here from that perspective, so I'll mess with that. So that being said, I haven't decided yet which picture. I have a couple to choose from. I'm leaning toward this one. Not sure, like that maybe, because I have a few other ones. This was kind of cute. This was like back my daughter used to be. She's so small, and unfortunately she's so small in the picture. It's really hard to see her. But I kind of like this because it's kites and it's springtime. So I may save this one. I mean, I really like this picture too, but this is really cute. And I could even do this and then have embellishment here. So I may do that. Because this was the dad of the little girl that she used to be babysat by, and this is a little boy that was babysat with him. So I think I can do this. And I think this could look really cute. And I'll just have to work with that piece there, which is not a big deal. That's so small, right? So I think that's what I'm going to do, y'all. Let me cut this a little bit and kind of, the sad thing is I almost kind of want to lift this. I may do that, y'all. I may do that. I'll have to back this on like a piece of craft or some piece of, you know, white cardstock or so it's not floppy or whatever. But I think I might lift this now that I've done that. And, ooh, I don't know if I have enough beads or things, if I can make a shaker pocket behind that. The other thing I do have too is all these little ephemeras and things like this. I kind of want this title. I may make it Love This. But then I have all these little, like, you know, different little things here. So I should have plenty to work with from that perspective. Stickers, all that kind of stuff. So let me cut this. I'm going to see if I can't make this into a shaker pocket, y'all. And I'll come back on in a minute. Well, guys, quick check-in because I've screwed up. So the first thing I did is I went ahead and got like a piece of just cream cardstock, and I've mounted my stripe or my plaid to it because I knew I wanted to give it a little support because of this hole. And if you remember, I mentioned to you, I was like, oh, I'm going to make this into a shaker pocket. Well, I go get my foam tape, I start slapping it down there, and I realize, Christine, you didn't put the acetate on there. So this will not be a shaker pocket because I am not going to try to pull this all off and put acetate down. However, it will be raised. So that's going to still look cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. And I'll be able to tuck in little things and do stuff like that. Now, what I want to do is also ink the edges of this. I think I'm going to use this Stormy Sky. I need to double check it. I'll swatch it real quick, but I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to ink the edges of my little circle, and I'll ink the edges of the outside. So I'm going to end up with a little dimension anyways. I mean, it's going to look fine. I'm just kind of sad because I kind of intended for a shaker pocket, but that is not happening. So let me do my inking, and I'll stick this down, and I will come back on. Okay, y'all, I've made some progress here. I inked the edges of my paper and my little circle. And this is me, the end of me. I have put a bunch of foam tape, you know, I think you saw that in the last piece of it, but that's just me kind of removing it. And now I'm going to map my photo. And I left this in here so y'all can kind of see, because I kind of went back and forth, honestly. But I had this paper, and I thought I got to use some of this paper up. I really like that little paint swatchy looking piece there. But in my head, I'm going, I want to use these other papers too. So I think I decided next to do the, I looked at the pink, and I decided, no, I'm going to go with the hearts. And I cut them, I give them kind of fatter mats because I thought, you know what, why not? I've got all this paper, let's just use it, make the most of it. And I wanted to be able to see the hearts. So I'll make this a little bit thicker borders, and you can kind of see the hearts. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you can see them, you know, 100%, but you can kind of see them. So I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to mount it on that green, and it's going to separate the patterns between the green and the little paint swatch piece there. So I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to cut away in just a second. I will ink the edges of these with also that little blue ink that I showed you, just to kind of be consistent. So I'm going to mount that, and then I'm going to put it on top of that paint swatchy piece. And this is just the latter part of that. So I've got kind of a big photo deal going on here. I think I've turned this essentially into a 5x7 now, and it was a little 4x6. So, again, I'm just inking the edges of these guys. So I'm going to put that in that lower left corner, and then I'll put the title on next, and you'll see that. And it's just like, I decided to go with Love This. I think I mentioned that. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember what I told you guys in the intro because I haven't listened to it, and it's been a couple of hours since I did this. So, I did kind of, initially I was centering the photo in the middle of that biggest mat there, the little paint swatchy one. And then I decided to kind of drop it down on the lower half of it so I could put the title at the top. So that's kind of why I've got that going on. And I'll have to put foam, of course, underneath that corner there because now it's, you know, up on the raised part where the circle's raised. So I just use a little pencil to kind of mark where my circle ends, and then I'll draw myself, I have to find it. I'll draw myself a little line. I'll go, okay, that's where I'm going to need some foam tape, is right up in there. And then I'll just use ATG to attach it to the lower corner. And this is where I'm adding the title. And I do use the little foam, the little black foam letters here. And I think these are so neat, too. I love this little font. I still have a couple more words left, which I'm happy. I think like sweetheart and beautiful or something. I really like this set. This is one of my favorite collections, honestly, this from Cocoa Vanilla. Well, I say that. They had that other one that was the boy one. I think it was called like No Limits. That one was great, too. I'm not going to lie. I love Cocoa Vanilla. I'm going through the stuff here. I found that little tag. That's not where that's going to stay, actually. And I haven't removed the adhesive yet. That is actually a sticker, but I'll move that in just a minute. I have that chipboard piece there. I don't actually think I end up using that in the end. I thought about it initially. I was going to put it on the corner, and then I realized all my little chipboard pieces are kind of falling out, so I thought, you know, I'm just going to set them aside here. So I'm going to pop these out and set them aside. And then I noticed my little triangles, my little plaid triangles sitting up there, and I thought, you know what? That could look neat right there. So I'm going to add that, and I've got that little banner piece, and I kind of like how that's looking, actually. I think that looks kind of pretty. I don't use any more little triangles, and in fact, those do go in the scrap bin. I decided I couldn't use any. I used basically every bit of paper with this, y'all. I used every bit of paper. I had a little bit of the blue color wash piece left over, so that did go in my blue scrap bin because it was big enough. I think I can use it on something else. But everything else I had left over was too small to use really any other kind of way, so they went in the scrap bin. Now, here's where I'm finding these chipboard flowers. I like these a lot. And this actually was kind of neat because I was able to tuck these underneath this picture, and because I had raised up the floral there, it kind of just worked out. I liked how this turned out, actually. I'm going to add some little buttons that were chipboard buttons. There's also some little chipboard hearts, and I'm just going to find little homes for those. In that lower left is now where I've got that tag, and I put a camera over it. So I did like that, and I'm going to add one more chipboard heart, I think, on that one as well. So I'm just kind of, like I said, filling this stuff out. And let me see here. What have I got going on? I'm just kind of sorting through these ephemeras again. And what have I got going on here, y'all? I've forgot what I did. Oh, the little hearts. So there's all these little enamel heart looking things are kind of shiny. So I glue everything down. My cat, by the way, y'all, she kept ooching. She ooched and ooched and ooched, and she just had to get, honestly, by the time it was all done, she's basically sitting on top of my hands just about. I did find a couple little wordy bits down there on the little sticker sheet that I like. See how she's ooched again? Do you see that? She adjusted herself, and now she's almost on top of me. And I put those on my little tag there. I will add a little label at the top of the photo. I don't remember exactly when I do it, but I'll add a label and I'll add the date. It was February 9th, 2000, believe it or not. It was that long ago. I can't believe it. Here's where I'm sticking some of these little enamel dots and things like that in here. And I'll just find homes. I'm just kind of sprinkling them about. I didn't really use them all. I thought about it. I thought, could I use them all? And I thought, no, some of these are still kind of cute. So I did stick those in my little bin of enamel dots that I have. So they found a home as well to be used at a later time. But I will add quite a few actually in here. And so my design is ended up kind of being like a diagonal coming from the lower left to the upper right, obviously. So just real quickly, the picture, I think I mentioned this. This was the kiddos. My daughter used to be kept by a good friend of ours. She was not working outside the home, and she wanted to keep her daughter. So her daughter was 2, and then my daughter was born. And so she kept her until she was about 2, actually. And then she had another little boy she started keeping. So that's the little boy you kind of can see from the back. And then that was the dad. He was a good friend. That was our good friend. And he would come home. The job he had was pretty flexible. So he'd come home and he'd play with the kids. And this particular day, I guess they were going to fly a kite. So she was real good about taking pictures and giving them to me when she took pictures of my daughter. So I was real grateful for that. So I didn't miss too much, I guess. But they did have a good time. And so that's all I'm going to do the layout, y'all. I stuck my date on there. I stuck all my little enamel dots, or hearts rather, and that turned out so cute. I was really pleased with that. I was able to get that layout made out of just scraps. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and all the good stuff. And if you comment, I'll say thank you. And I'm happy to say hello. And I guess Instagram @ScrappingHarden. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.